Hi, I'm State Representative Tony Hwang, and we are here on Autism Awareness Day at the Connecticut General Assembly. And I have a tremendous guest here that is an inspiration to me, but also someone that has been a tremendous advocate in regards to autism awareness. Her name is Shannon Leary, and her son Jack, who is soon to be 11 years old.
No, 12.
Thank you, Jack. And Shannon is a parent of an autistic child, but also she is the policy director for the Connecticut chapter of the Autism Speaks. And Shannon, you and I have worked for the last number of years, and truly you have been an inspiration to me, not only as an advocate, but also as a parent. Your inspiration and your passion is something that that comes through loud and clear when you talk to us about autism. But for our audience, can you explain what autism means? We've heard about it around quite a bit, but share with us what it means.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting us here today, first of all. I think it's so important that we can have this conversation. By definition, autism is a neurobiological disorder that can affect one's ability to communicate. Now, that's a very clinical term. I think what's important to take away from that is that autism is a spectrum disorder. It affects each person differently. It presents itself differently in each case. So just because you know one person with autism really simply means you know one person with autism. It's a mind-boggling spectrum of issues. So that is kind of what autism is by definition.
Okay. Now, I mean, it truly is a term that has such a wide spectrum of meanings, and to put it all under one umbrella, but still, when you talk about autism, how does that impact you, and what are your perspectives of how autism impacts you as a parent? I think, I've known Jack for the last 3 years. He has been a terrific, conscientious, very interactive child, and he loves his iPad.
He does love his iPad.
iPad is a wonderful thing that keeps him engaged, and it's a learning process. But share with me what it means to you in being a parent of an autistic child, and what that means from a standpoint of when you first learned about it, and how you've engaged and gotten involved as a parent.
Well, I think that's an excellent question. I think this has been a journey for sure, and it remains a journey. When Jack was first diagnosed, he was just under 3 years old, and we had seen the signs of that beforehand, but did not want to acknowledge that there might be something going on. And when he was finally diagnosed, it was more of a relief, because we actually knew what we were dealing with. That relief was short-lived, because once we moved past that, there is sort of a grieving process, grieving for a future that you had perhaps envisioned for your child that you think at the time will not exist. Over the years, we've learned that the future has changed, and we need to figure out what that means for him individually, rather than what we thought that meant for us. So it's a very isolating time. I will say that for sure. It's very isolating. Services are hard to come by. It's a very confusing time. I would offer to any parents who are going through that situation now that to remember that they are not alone. There are so many of us out here who are willing to help, and who are willing to lead them along. Can you just lower that? And like I said, along the way, this has been certainly a journey, and things have changed, and his needs have changed educationally, from an insurance perspective. He's now going into middle school, and that comes with a whole different set of parenting issues and needs, and advocacy needs for appropriate education and planning for his future, which is very daunting.
But you've hit on the key word. I think I appreciate your honesty, and you've been great in invoking those type of feelings and sharing and connecting with a lot of the parents who go through that same range of emotions that,
Right.
that they undertake. But I think one of the joys I've gotten from learning from you and hearing of you is the fact that even though Jack's future was not what you envisioned, there's still a tremendous future in front of him. I mean, and it's no small part to your advocacy and your energy. I have to share with you, even as we're doing this taping, you are minding 3 different things.
Yes. Always multitasking.
And you're always multitasking, and Jack's been great. But I think you, as for all the times I've known you and interacted with you, you've always had a eye on Jack.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to be, and I've shared with you in our conversations, you know, we talked about policy and things like that. There's a time when you are literally exhausted.
Yes. Literally.
And share with me what some of the aspects, so people can understand that they are not alone. I mean, you're full of energy, you're full of passion, but at the same time, there's days when the tank is low.
Yes. Autism Awareness Month is one of those times where the tank is very low. And that's a good problem to have. I will say that part of what comes with autism is the constant vigilance, is that we are always on. We always have to be on, whether I'm here or whether I'm in the school or whether I'm at the doctor's office. We always have to be on and advocating for our children, because there is so much, there's such a lack of understanding of what we are going through. And, you know, from a physical perspective also, Jack's not a big fan of sleeping. So, so he's up very early, and
that's why Mom's getting me a dream light.
Exactly. He has some anxiety about sleeping, so hence the dream light to help him sleep. But it's physically exhausting as well, because when he's not sleeping, we're not sleeping. And this is a common issue among parents, and we have it relatively good. There are some children who never sleep, who sleep maybe 45 minutes to an hour a night, and it's physically exhausting. So while I can do this, and while I can advocate, and while I can be a voice for so many parents, I will. And I need to do that for his future as well. And his future is bright. We just have to create the right one for him.
And really, that is part of why we're having this conversation, having this awareness day, and you've taught me so much. Now, when you talk about the third component of I hope this discussion is advocacy, and talking about roles of parents, roles of community and education, but also roles of legislators like ourselves.
Yep.
What do you see, and what do you have seen in the partnership, and how we're making this a true partnership to build a better future for Jack and so many other children and parents?
Right. Well, I think, you know, speaking of all the children, we're now hearing numbers around 1 in 50 children being diagnosed with an autism spectrum disorder. And so our role as partners becomes ever more critical. I'm thankful that you have chosen to come on this journey with us, and that you have chosen to educate yourself. And I think a lot of representatives and senators here have done the same. Jack. And I'm so tremendously grateful for that, but there's so much more to do. We're up here at a level of understanding of what the depths of autism is. When I talk about what we need to do, I always focus on 5 areas that we've talked about: education, access to appropriate medical treatment, employment, housing, and research. And under those things, there are so many different things that need to be accomplished. But we have potentially 1 in 50 children coming down the pike who will have no jobs, who will have no place to live once they can't live with their parents anymore. So we are in crisis, and I think, I don't use that term loosely, but I think it's really important that legislators understand the crisis, the true crisis that we are facing from a public health perspective, and also from a human perspective. These are people who want to be a part of our community and want to contribute to our community and should contribute to our community. And that is where our partnership comes in, and we need to figure out how to do that and how to do it right.
Well, it's a journey, it's a learning process, and it's something I'm committed to. Share with me, I mean, Jack, you have been great. You have been tremendous. Although I can see you are a bundle of energy.
Yes.
Now, where is Jack on the spectrum? And from a context, I mean, you hear about high functioning,
Right.
you hear about, you know, highly autistic and non-functioning. Where is Jack on the spectrum, and what does that mean?
Right.
The whole spectrum.
Well, the spectrum is very complicated. There are some who are profoundly affected, and there are some who are affected profoundly in different ways. Jack falls under the category of Asperger's syndrome, which perhaps the physical language impairments aren't as apparent. He struggles socially, marches to a different drum, and that will continue to be difficult to navigate as we come into a time in his life where social skills are critical in developing friendships and happiness, really. So, but we keep working. So.
But I've also seen the awareness
Yeah.
of the public, and,
Yeah.
and through work with advocates like yourself, to raise awareness from schools and sensitivity programs and diversity days.
Right.
They are really helpful in allowing children
Right.
and adults
Right.
to understand that, you know, the social filters are different,
Absolutely.
but to adapt.
Right.
I've had many interactions with Jack, and he recognized when I first saw him today,
Yeah.
and I hadn't seen him in over 6 months,
All right.
and you remembered my name.
Yeah.
See? Thank you.
Hey,
welcome.
And
Jack,
you're going to get a dream light.
Yeah.
do you have anything to share about how you feel about autism?
Yeah.
It's on.
Okay. I have something to share about autism, and that's a lot of interests.
You have a lot of interests, right?
Yup.
But you have a lot of interests that are very specific, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job.
And
What are your interests?
I have 4 pillow pets, a stuffy, a cuddle uppet, 3 composer action figures, a stuffed tiger from Animal Kingdom,
Okay.
and I have and et cetera, et cetera.
Et cetera, et
Et
cetera.
cetera. Okay,
So,
thank you.
what's your favorite thing to do on the iPad?
Go to YouTube.
Yeah. We don't
Go to
have
YouTube?
Yeah.
And?
Okay.
And my favorite YouTube channel is Chase Ace 5127's channel.
Okay.
He makes Baby Einstein videos.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, thank you for
Thank
the
you.
plug
Thank you.
for Chase.
All right.
And thank you. You did a great job.
Thank you.
All right.
And that's something that's very important to us also, is
What
that
a cool rocking
that-
chair.
Jack learns to advocate for himself as well. I think it's important that we, as parents and as legislators, let this be our compass and make sure that their voices are heard in our discussions as well.
Well, I think this is an appropriate close to remind us that a parent of an autistic child is no different from any parent.
Right.
And I think your final statement is the fact that all parents aspire with their children, is the fact that you want your child to aspire,
Right.
to be able to take care of themselves, define themselves, and have every opportunity to be successful,
Right.
fulfilled, and happy.
Absolutely.
And so I think that mission is no different.
You're right.
And I think that brings us full circle, the fact that the unique challenges, the energy level that you need to have, and the understanding education that needs to occur, but the mission is all the same.
It is.
The mission is all the same. You're a parent, you unconditionally love your child,
Yep.
and you want to do everything you can to ensure that you do everything
Right.
to fulfill their joy and happiness when we're not around.
Absolutely.
And that is a mission that I share, and you've taught me so much about that. And when you see these blue puzzle pieces, it is a representation of Autism Speaks. But the reason why they chose the puzzle piece is the fact that autism, with its wide spectrums and with its myriads of complexities, is a puzzle.
It is.
And that puzzle reflects a small piece of trying to find a solution, and we're putting one piece at a time.
Absolutely, we are.
And I'm looking forward to working with you
Thank you.
and spreading the news and making people understand that it is part of our community, it's part of our life, and we should embrace it
Absolutely.
and learn from it.
Thank you.